So before we get into the season, we're going to talk about dugout culture.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So how important is dugout culture?
So dugout culture is kind of like how a team plays the game a little bit. As spectators, as fans, even sometimes as coaches and young players, we think of playing the game on the field. We think of everything that happens on the field. That's where we play the game. Reality is there are things that we can do not on the field to prepare for those moments and those opportunities on the field. And that's where I came up with this thought. There's so many different things that kids are just not aware of. And to be honest, a lot of youth coaches, things that we can do in the dugout to take advantage of that time, of those moments, of what we're watching. And as coaches, help give the players a little bit more focus when they're in there instead of, which is what happens a lot at the younger ages, it just becomes like a place to goof off. And they're not really even thinking about the game, talking about the game, which again, they're kids, right? It's the games when you're
It's
young.
almost like a break from the game because they're not on the field.
And that's how they see it.
Yeah.
Right. And that is probably a place where the younger generation of players, the younger generation of parents, they see that as being fun. Let them have fun in there. Where in my eyes, being a baseball purist, playing the game, doing well at the game is a part of the fun. So now as coaches, one of our jobs is to teach them how to do well when on the field, and taking advantage of that time in the dugout to prepare for those moments is a piece that's not talked about a lot. I think a couple years ago, I wrote a post on social media that is everything that this poster is now.
Okay.
And I put it out there. Originally, it was just in a post form, just a bunch of different bullet points on things that we can be doing in the dugout. I turned it into a document in a PDF form that's now on our website that anybody can go to and download. Just a regular PDF, print it, and it's a paper version.
Yeah.
And then when I saw how much people appreciated it, I decided to try to make a product out of it to put in our store. And that's where we came up with this PVC material that's waterproof. And we put that spot in there to be able to clip it up to a fence.
Perfect.
So that coaches can have it in the dugout up as a reminder and something that it can withstand the elements and coaches can carry with them. And I've gotten a bunch of pictures over the years of coaches who have bought one from our store, used it, and have been grateful for how it has helped their team.
Good. Okay. Start at the top.
Yep. Let's hear that first one.
Okay. Position players. Study the opposing pitchers. Look for patterns in pitch selection, tells in their delivery, how they handle hold times and pickoff moves with runners on. Watch to see if they pay attention to the runner on third.
Okay. So the first part of that, pay attention to patterns in pitch selection. Okay, so a lot of pitchers, especially at the younger ages, they are doing the same pattern of pitches to almost every hitter, meaning fastball strike one, fastball strike two. If they get 2-1-2, once they get to two strikes, they're going to throw some sort of off speed. So there's this pattern that they're doing. And as a hitter, if I walk up to the plate and I know what to expect, it makes hitting that much easier. The other side of that is a lot of coaches are out there calling pitches, and they too are very predictable with what they call.
Is that a little bit of human nature, though, just to fall into a pattern, especially if something seems to work?
Yeah, a little bit. But when you talk about game strategy, it's not the
Right.
best of things.
Right.
So as a pitching coach and a pitcher, something that I should always be aware of the moment that kids start throwing off speed pitches is that I want to, one, develop confidence in all my different pitch types to throw them at any count in any situation. But I need to make sure that as a pitcher and catcher that we are always aware of, am I doing the same thing to everybody? And are we later in a game, and do we end up giving up hits? And the hitters are taking better swings because they are knowing what to expect. And good coaches will coach their players up on that sort of stuff. They will see like, hey, they're throwing a first pitch fastball to every batter. So when you go up there, I want you hunting fastball on that first pitch. You be ready to crush it. So there's a lot of little things like that. Again, that if I'm in the dugout, I'm focused on the game, not just goofing around talking about video games. If I'm focused on the game, I could be learning something about my opponent to prepare for that next at bat that I have.
Sounds like a level of maturity.
It is, but the reality is that this stuff, and I've done it, you can teach it to kids at any age.
Okay.
Like it's not only for teenagers. It's not only for high schoolers. Like we've seen 10, 11, 12-year-olds that have recognized like, hey, they're throwing a first pitch fastball at everybody. I'm going to go up there and I'm going to be ready for it.
Gotcha.
What was the next thing in that?
Tells in their delivery.
So tells in their delivery. Again, the younger ages, there's way more things that happen that pitchers just aren't mature enough, like you said, to be aware of that they're doing, and they just haven't had enough reps, and there's nobody helping them to not make those mistakes. So simple tells in their delivery is Like if a pitcher's going to throw a changeup, all of a sudden his delivery's slower, right? He's going to slow his whole body down. So if I'm the hitter and all of a sudden I see slower movement in the pitcher's delivery, I know that here comes an off-speed pitch.
Or something like he takes a little bit longer between the pitch because he's going to throw whatever.
Yep. And a lot of young pitchers, they will get the grip outside their glove.
Mm.
They will come up to their glove and they'll have extra movement when they're getting to an off-speed pitch, or they'll have no movement when they're getting to a fastball. If you were to study even major league games, if you have a really good eye for it, you can even see some of those guys have tells in their delivery. And it can be super subtle, like on a breaking pitch, their finger outside of the glove, that finger will move a little differently. It could be there's a little bit of a different angle, there's a different wrist turn when they're holding different pitches. So there's all these little things. That was my job as a pitching coach, was to study my pitchers to make sure they didn't have any tells in their delivery. One of the most memorable ones that I had was a kid who came out of college and he had a really good curveball. And when he was in his windup, when he would step and his hands would drop on a fastball, he would go all the way down and cover his belt. But when he would throw a curveball, he wouldn't go down as far with his hands. And he had 2 or 3 inches of his jersey that was showing above his belt every time. So again, how does a kid get this far, right?
Yeah.
How does a kid get this far and have that obvious of a tell?
Just attention to detail.
And a lot of it comes down to just coaches knowing what our job is and being good at our job as a coach of studying the game and knowing what all these things that we're there to do to help our players with.
Is this why you can read my mind so well?
Possibly. You have a lot of tells. I need to make sure
It's not surprising.
I need to make sure you're fed at all times.
Well, anyways,
You brought it up.
I know. Anyways, okay. How they handle hold times and pickoffs with runners on.
Okay, so hold times. I'm not sure if we've talked about this before. When there are runners on base, controlling the runners is our job as a pitcher.
Okay.
So making sure they're not so comfortable that they can get a bigger lead and they get a good jump at stealing the next base. So I want to, when I come set, I need to make sure the amount of time I'm holding it is different each pitch. So for me, I always counted to 1000s in my head. Some count by alligators. Some might do like a UCLA pattern in their head. But having some sort of counting mechanism, counting pattern, breathing, whatever it is, something to make sure that we are varying that whole time each pitch. So I might count to 1003 one pitch. The next one I may count to 1001. The next one I may know that I'm going to hold the ball until the batter calls timeout. So I'm doing all these things to make sure that my hold time is not the same every time, so that runner at first or second isn't so comfortable that they can time me. They know how long I'm going to hold it so they can get a little bit of more of a jump when they go to steal.
Gotcha.
And as far as pickoffs, a lot of coaches calling pickoffs, pitchers who pick off, they tend to do it in the same counts, which is often a breaking pitch type count. So like an 0-2 is when they may pick off. A lot of times you don't see these pitchers pick off really in fastball counts. Your good ones, they will be aware of all of that and make sure that they don't have a pattern of when they are picking off by doing it the same all the time.
Gotcha. And then watch to see if they pay attention to the runner on third.
So my recommendation is that anytime a runner's at third, that we stay in the stretch, because as a pitching coach, I have such a hard time seeing, and it doesn't happen often, but seeing runners at thirds be able to steal home because the pitcher has failed to acknowledge them over there. So by staying in the stretch, as a right-hander, I come set, I literally can see that guy. I need to give him a look before every pitch. Just because he's on third doesn't mean I completely ignore him. If I'm in the windup, I'm going to get the sign, I'm going to give that runner a look, and then I'm going to throw my pitch. Just because the runner's at third, I should not ignore that runner just because he can't steal anywhere or steal easily.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to pitchers. Study the opposing hitters. Are they on time with the load phase of their swing? Do they chase with 2 strikes? Do they swing first pitch? Does their approach change with runners on versus no runners on? Are they a base stealer?
So a lot of this would come down to like a scouting report for a hitter.
Okay.
So if you're on a team that they do a good job of keeping some sort of chart in the dugout, it's a lot easier to do this at high school than it is tournament ball, because you may only see a team one time for the whole season. But in high school, especially as high school coaches that are there every year, you see these kids for years in a row, multiple games each season. For me, I wanted to know just a few things when it came down to my opponents, because I didn't need too much information. I just needed a few, and then besides, I'm going to pitch to my strengths. But I want to know if they were going to swing first pitch, so that I knew if they're an aggressive hitter first pitch, I may approach that first pitch a little bit differently. Like I may throw a cutter to get him to just hit a little weak ground ball. I may throw a changeup down the zone, something that isn't just a easy fastball, because I know they're going up there hunting fastball. So I may pitch first pitch swingers, pitch them more backwards. Do you know what that means? Pitch someone
I've
backwards?
heard you say it, but explain it.
So to pitch someone backwards, the typical is to get ahead with fastballs and then strike them out with off-speed pitches.
Okay.
So pitching backwards means to get ahead in the count with slow stuff and then put them away with hard stuff.
Okay.
So it's simple term, but super effective against aggressive hitters. I loved facing aggressive hitters because I know that they are up there wanting to swing a bat. So I can be a little bit more aggressive with throwing more put away type pitches and not just put away counts, if that makes sense.
Okay.
A put away count is 0-2, 1-2, a strikeout type count.
Okay.
What were the other bullet points on there?
What do they chase with 2 strikes?
Okay, so that's a put away count.
Okay.
So that's me knowing, will this guy chase up with 2 strikes, fastball up? Is he susceptible to a curveball in the dirt with 2 strikes? So just knowing our hitters a little bit better and seeing what in those strikeout counts, what we can strike them out with.
Okay.
But again, if I'm sitting in the dugout or if I'm a pitcher in youth ball, I'm a pitcher playing a position and I might pitch later in that game, I got this whole game I can watch and see this kid I'm facing right now. I saw him earlier chase a change up, down, and away. Right. So just an example of things that if I'm watching the game and I'm studying my opponents and seeing what they do, I'm going to be more prepared for that opportunity later in the game or my next opportunity.
Yeah. So do they swing at the first pitch?
Yep.
Kind of goes along with
Talked about that.
Does their approach change with runners on versus no runners on?
Okay. So
and then are they a base stealer?
Okay. So this one is not really thought about often, I don't think, but a lot of hitters, maybe even most, they become more aggressive when there are runners in scoring position. Do you know what runners in scoring position means?
Yes.
So runners at second or second and third.
Okay.
Anywhere beyond first base is considered in scoring position because all it takes is a ground ball through the infield and that runner at second can come around the score. So most hitters, their approach will change when there's runners in scoring position. So the rate of hitters swinging on the first pitch goes way up when there's runners in scoring position.
Okay.
So if I know the guys in the lineup that like to do that, or just in general, I know that with a runner second, I love throwing a cutter first pitch because I knew they were going to probably be aggressive. And I cannot tell you how many little ground balls to shortstop I got just because I kind of knew that they wanted to swing at that first pitch.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to base stealers, especially in high school, when you're facing the same teams multiple times a season, multiple years in a row, you kind of start to learn who the base stealers are, who the base stealers aren't. So as a pitcher, I know when I can get away with a leg lift with a runner at first and when I need to be quicker every pitch with my delivery.
Okay, moving on. Position players, pick up your teammates. Know where everyone's hat and glove is, and when they're at the last out of the inning, someone be ready to take their stuff to them unless they are the catcher.
Super simple one.
Yes.
And this comes down to tempo. Not a lot to explain here. Okay?
Yeah.
If my shortstop makes the last out of the inning and I'm one of the other players on the team that's in the dugout ready to go, I'm going to know where that guy's stuff is on the bench. I'm going to grab his hat and his glove and I'm going to run that out there and a coach can get his helmet from him and that guy doesn't have to come all the way in the dugout and then go all the way back out.
Yeah.
It's a super easy way to make sure that the tempo of the game is going and even help my teammate keep some of his energy of not having to run all the way off.
Now, is this like with younger kids? Do coaches set up like a buddy system? Like
that, I don't know, but it might not be a bad idea. I mean, getting kids to see the game this way, it should not be hard to do. And again, an effective way to keep the pace of the game going
like
quickly.
if you buddied up third base and shortstop, like you said, if shortstop is the last out, third baseman's got his stuff and vice versa. Okay.
Yeah, I think, again, this is called dugout culture, more like team culture. If a coach is able to establish a lot of these things from the get-go, from day one, hey, this is how we're going to play this game. When you are all in the dugout, this is what we expect, this is what we're looking for, and these are our whys.
Okay, this one's for the coaches. They are watching your body language, your energy, your support, establish a culture of responsibility and accountability. Be the example of what you preach.
So coaches, we want players to play the game relaxed. We want them to play it confident. We want them to play it aware. We want our players to have success, have fun at having success, and be as prepared as they can when they're out there and have as much confidence as they can. Our body language, how we react to when they make a mistake, our voice, the tone of our voice, the level of encouragement we give versus the backhanded comments. There's all these little things that we can do as coaches that can either build our team up or break them down. And too often, the adults, especially in the youth game, the mannerisms, the body language, the tone of the voice, the adult emotions tend to get so out of whack over the game is about the kids. It's not about us at all. And we just get so frustrated and emotional about whatever it is that's happening that all of a sudden we don't realize, a lot of coaches don't realize what they're doing is actually making their players worse.
Yeah.
You're breaking their confidence. Things you're doing, they're going out there now, they're playing fearful of if they make a mistake of how a coach is going to react, right? Because the truth is they all look up to us. They literally are going to notice everything we do. And if that kid doesn't see it, someone else didn't, they're going to talk about you to that kid. Did you see what coach did? Did you see it? Like, I can't believe you did that. So there's a lot of these coaches, especially the men, that's pretty much who's out there. The men have to get better emotional control and think a lot clearer about how they handle themselves.
Yeah. I was thinking about this the other day. Can you imagine if, let's take third graders, can you imagine if a third grade teacher popped off at one of their students because they didn't do well on their like math quiz or whatever? And the teacher like, come on, just do the math. It makes no sense in that scenario. To me, it's the same when you're coaching younger ones, gosh, even high schoolers. To me, it's the same thing. Why on earth are you going to get like literally angry with them for making a mistake? These kids are 9, 10 years old. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But I mean, it would be ridiculous if your kid came home from school and was like, yeah, Mrs. So-and-so was so mad she yelled at Bobby today because he scored 65 on his math. And like,
yeah, well,
I can't even explain it as a good example because it doesn't make any sense.
Well, in general, there's something about sports. And then if you want to take school as the other example, the tolerance for adult behavior, bad adult behavior, is way higher in sports than it is for things like education. I don't know why.
Maybe the classroom isn't considered like competitive.
I don't know, but
But why does competitiveness excuse poor behavior?
I don't know, but I think it's always been like that, and that's where we're at. And you said something a second ago about teenagers or high schoolers. When kids are pre-puberty, it turns more into like fear, or it breaks their confidence. It may break their trust a little bit when the adults behave like that. You get into high school, these kids are in puberty, they're post-puberty, that testosterone is flowing. That sort of stuff now turns into anger.
Yeah.
It turns into
resentment,
hate, trust breaks immediately. There's different levels working with kids at different ages about how they even process those adult actions, or those adult emotions. And as coaches, we have to do a way better job of just being able to separate our emotions from what our job is, and our job is to teach the game, period.
Yeah. Okay. Back to the pitchers. Stay loose. If there is a long inning with your team batting, make sure to keep your body moving. With 2 outs, do some band work, arm circles, or maybe even go to the bullpen to play a little catch. Keep your arm loose and ready.
Okay, another easy one. In the youth game, it happens a lot. You have long innings. I'm the pitcher. I'm in the dugout. My team is hitting for like 20 to 30 minutes. Happens. You have hour-long innings in youth baseball. Yeah. So during these long innings, I need to make sure that I am staying loose and I'm staying ready to go out there and pitch. If I don't throw a baseball for 20 to 30 minutes, my arm starts cooling down, the blood stops flowing, right?
Your adrenaline is calmed.
Yeah, everything is calmed down. And I go out there, and even if I have 8 warm-up pitches, sometimes those 8 warm-up pitches are not enough to be ready to throw that first competitive pitch.
Yeah.
So doing things like hooking some bands up in the dugout, doing some movements, some patterns, some exercises, going outside of the dugout, playing a little bit of catch. Doesn't take a lot.
Yeah.
We're just talking about maybe 5, 10 throws to make sure that everything stays lubed up and loose and ready to go.
Yeah. Catchers, be ready. Unless you are at bat, on base, or on deck, make sure you're ready to go when that third out is made.
So catcher should be able to get all of his gear on within 45 seconds.
Okay.
And the catchers I work with, that's something that we work on, and we make sure we're timed, and they don't like it. But if you know your gear, you know where all your gear is, you have practiced it enough, 45 seconds is plenty of time to put on shin guards, chest, and a mask. It's plenty of time.
Okay.
So once there's 2 outs, as a catcher in the dugout, I need to put my shin guards on.
Yeah.
So that all I have to do from there is get my chest and put my helmet or mask on, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Now, if my catcher is batting and there's 2 outs, or they end up on base with 2 outs. I'm not sure if this is on there too, but there needs to be someone in the dugout ready to go up and warm up with the pitcher.
Yeah, it says it's on here.
Okay, we cannot find ourselves in a position where the pitcher's standing out on the mound and there's nobody there to warm up. So it either needs to be a player or another coach that goes out with the pitcher. This has to be a priority. It cannot happen where the pitcher's out there standing waiting. And this comes down to tempo, flow, rhythm of the game. If I'm pitching, and this isn't on there, but if I'm pitching, my job is to get my team in the dugout as quick as I can. How quickly can I get 3 outs? Can we get 3 outs to get our guys back in the dugout, especially after we just put up a crooked number, meaning we scored multiple runs? If we put up runs in that inning before, let's keep that momentum. Let's get our guys back in the dugout as quick as we can. And little things like this play into that.
So typically, even on like a youth team, there's 10, 11, 12 players maybe. So there's going to be at least one body left in the dugout that isn't out on the field. Now, even if that person is never a catcher, maybe you don't want him behind the plate, he can at least go back there and hold up the target, right? So that, and this is my amateur brain thinking about this, could at least go up there, hold the target up, and let the pitcher go through his routine.
Sure. And if that's not a possibility, there's not enough players or that kids that are in there they're not going to do it. Coach, get your butt out there.
Right.
Go get a glove and get out there and do not allow your pitcher to be standing out there waiting.
Okay, this one's for all the players. Create an atmosphere of supporting one another. Watch the game together. Talk about what you're seeing. Cheer your teammates on, but be careful letting your cheers be the only thing you're talking about. And the dugout is a place to prepare for your next opportunity.
All right, so I'm going to approach this one and we're going to talk about being cheerleaders.
Okay.
Because that is what the youth game is. Coaches say, hey, I want to hear you guys, be loud, speak up, talk up.
Yeah.
And that's the coach's way of getting them in the game.
Right.
The coaches
Staying
feel
engaged.
that the coaches feel that if they are talking up, that is how they stay engaged in the game.
Yeah.
The hard part about that is now all of a sudden all their mind is thinking is, what's my teammate's number? What's his name? What can I say next? So all they're doing is thinking about what they're going to say next versus all the other things of watching the game, talking about the game, paying attention to the game. I'm not saying don't talk at all. Obviously, encourage and support your teammates, but that shouldn't be all we're doing in there.
Yeah.
So loud dugouts, great. Crazy part is you watch college ball, and college ball is over the top with this.
I don't like it.
And you see it in high school ball too, where it's the chatter and the chippiness. It's almost taken to an extreme sometimes. I guess that's a little bit of gamemanship. It's a strategy, but yeah.
I
But
don't like it.
in my opinion, it's just my opinion, take it or leave it, there are a lot more productive things that we can be doing in the dugout besides being cheerleaders every second to play the game and prepare for our next opportunity.
Yeah.
So I would be very careful of, as a coach, all I want my players to do is be loud and be cheerful. Okay. And I guess I know that at the T-ball age and the coach pitch age, like these kids can't even comprehend some of the stuff we're talking about.
Right.
But when you start getting into those preteen years and those teenage years, we're here to teach the game. We're here to play the game. We're not here to be cheerleaders.
Yeah. Okay. Last one. Everyone hustle to your position. No walking out. And no walking is in all caps, by the way. No walking out to your position.
So when it comes to tempo, rhythm, getting our guys back in the dugout as quick as we can, we talked about it a couple episodes ago. I talked about tempo. As a pitcher, I'm trying to get those warm pitches done within 60 seconds. Okay, 60 to 90 seconds. Let's get it done. As the team, as the whole team in general, once that third out is made, we got to be out of the dugout as quick as we can, and everybody's running to their position. Everybody knows where their stuff is. There's nothing worse than Johnny is still in the dugout because he can't find his hat, because he can't find his glove. This happens all the time, and I know this gets on coaches' nerves. So again, if we establish this stuff from day one and we tell our players, you have your spot in the dugout, when you come in, you put it in that same spot every time. There are a lot of things that we can do to stay away from all that drama. And there are things we can do to play the game better, more efficiently. And with that, it's fun because we have more success.
Yeah. It's almost like the whole no crying in baseball. Like it should be no walking in baseball.
One of the kids I work with, this was a few years ago, I went and watched one of his games at a local field. I was blown away. I literally watched every kid walk out of the dugout all the way to their position.
I can't imagine sitting there watching somebody walk from the dugout like to left field.
Well, I think a lot of the adults don't understand that side of the game. So they don't know any different. A lot of the parents watching, but coaches should know better, in my opinion.
It all has to do with the tempo of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, no walking to your position.
Yeah. So anyway, so that document, there's a paper version that's available on the website, but we also have those posters available in the store, and there is a softball version too. It's pretty much the same, but there are things that were taken out because they're not softball relatable.
Okay. Good first half.
Yes. Okay. You ready for a little baseball 101 with Rachel?
Yep.
Okay. First thing before we move on, we have these shirts that we're wearing today. These are from 2 Out Rally.
Yeah.
On Facebook, I saw one of their ads that had some of their shirts, and I started looking through their shirts, and they had some perfect shirts for us.
Yeah.
So yours says baseball y'all, and mine says baseball is boring because
if you don't get it in smaller print.
The funny thing is that a few years ago, I wrote a post on that subject, and there's a lot of people that think baseball is boring.
Yeah.
Like, well, they're just not baseball people. They just don't understand the game. When you know the game, it is not boring.
So when you were talking about all the pitching stuff, obviously there's way more to it than just throwing strikes, which is what everybody thinks your job is. And it got me to thinking about that Netflix series, Quarterback, Receiver. I think there's another one that's football related. Why isn't there a pitcher one? Like there should be, because I remember, so I'm not a football fan, sorry everybody, but watching those kinds of shows interests me a lot. And I like seeing, maybe I just have more respect for the players, seeing all the work that goes into, like those quarterbacks are studying, not just their own playbook, but like the other team too. And like there's just so much more that goes into pitching than being able to throw the ball hard and throw strikes.
It's a good point. I mean, we have watched that one on the Red Sox.
Yeah.
There was that one that followed them like a whole season.
Yeah, but that wasn't like pitching specific.
It wasn't position specific, but it did give a lot of behind the scenes stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. I mean, as a pitcher, I would love to see something like that. I think there's a lot of stuff that we do throughout a season, the stuff that our body goes through, just like we see in the football ones, that a lot of people aren't.
Yeah, you're not aware of.
Fans just see what happens on the TV, and that's kind of it. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, that was off
okay,
topic.
that's fine. All right, so we have some more slang and some more baseball terms. So we're going to test your knowledge again.
Okay.
And there's obviously a lot because we've gone over these a few different times.
And you keep coming up
with new stuff.
Not even that you're coming up with them, but they're out there.
Yeah. Okay. I have like 7 here, 7 slang words.
My gosh.
One of them's more of a phrase, but all right. What is cheese?
Like a fastball.
Yeah. Really.
High cheddar.
And
or is that a thing?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that high cheddar said, but cheese in general is just fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
A fast fastball.
Yeah. Okay.
Is cheese. What is chin music?
Up and in. It's a high fastball.
Yep.
Pitched inside.
Yep.
Okay.
Up and in, you get the hitters to move their head, move their body. What is a ribby?
A run batted in.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. What is a wheelhouse?
Like somebody's strength. Like.
Okay.
So is this for a hitter?
Yes.
When the ball is thrown like in a certain area in the strike zone, it's right in their wheelhouse.
Wow.
Wow.
How did you know that?
Why would I not know that?
Jeez.
That's a very common phrase, by the way. Your wheelhouse, quote unquote,
Okay. All right.
Yeah. My wheelhouse is natural nails.
Okay. What is an ephus?
I don't know.
It's one of those really high, slow pitches. Like the pitchers throw and it goes like 10, 15, even 20 feet high.
Does that stand for something, or is that the actual word?
It's called ephus, like an ephus pitch. Spelled EEPHUS.
Okay.
Okay. What are the tools of ignorance?
I don't know. I don't.
It refers to catcher's gear. Because if somebody wants to choose to play that position, I love catchers, but they got some screws loose. To put all that stuff on and block these, you know, crazy velocity pitches off their body.
Maybe baseball catchers are even crazier than goalkeepers in soccer.
Oh, yeah.
Like
100%.
That's still, it's along the same lines. I would never want to play keeper. Never. I'd never want to be the goalie.
I have thrown to some amazing catchers in my life, and I respect those guys more than any other position out there.
Yeah.
Just what they go through every single game. And I have seen guys come out of games with bruises all over their body. And I'm not talking just like little tiny bruises.
Right.
I'm talking those bruises where it hit you square and deep and popped a bunch of blood vessels.
Yeah.
And they're sitting in ice baths. and then they go out and do it again the next night.
Okay, so hopefully Netflix is listening to this and they
Hey,
do
that
a
would be
pitcher, either pitchers and catchers together
yeah,
with like a duo, pitcher catcher duo, or they have two separate
yeah.
docuseries about pitchers and then catchers separately. And not like, what kind of workouts do you do? Like the whole thing, the mental side of everything. And
You know, kids these days love to say they're built different.
mm,
I'm, built different
okay.
to refer to like being tough and
Yeah,
being special.
I know.
Catchers are literally, they're built different.
Yes.
You
They're
are,
wired
they're
differently.
wired different. They're a little psychotic, what they want, the punishment that they're asking for.
Okay.
I love them. Okay, what is a gapper?
Is it a little blue pit into like in between the outfielders?
No.
Maybe blue pit isn't the right.
Mm-mm.
Okay, maybe I don't know what
So
it is.
gappers hit between the outfielders.
That's
like,
what I mean.
it's not a bloop though. It's like
Okay,
it's
so that's the wrong
it's
term.
driven in the gap. It's usually a double.
Okay.
Blooper would typically be like a single.
Okay, that's what I meant.
Okay.
I meant hit out in between the outfielders, but in my mind it's just going, okay, not a blooper, but I know what it is.
What is a snow cone?
Is it when the ball's caught right at the edge
Yes.
of the outfielder's glove?
Man,
Okay.
you're one smart cookie. Okay, got some terms here.
Oh,
Some
boy.
baseball terms.
Okay. Like these are actual terms. These aren't slang made up terms. Okay.
Yeah. What does tag up mean?
Fly ball, you have to tag the base you were at before you can run for the next base, or
So
you're out.
You cannot leave to go to the next base until the ball is caught.
Okay. Okay. Yep. That's an
big.
important detail.
What is a quality start? I don't know if you know this one.
I feel like this is one of those things where like the meaning varies. A quality start. Like maybe you didn't get the win, but you did your job well. Like you were able to hit your spots, but for whatever reason, maybe hitters weren't hitting that day.
So quality start in a 9-inning game. A quality start is 6 or more innings pitched.
Okay.
And 3 or less runs allowed.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. You should know that. I don't know the specific numbers, but that is like you go deep into the game, you're doing your job well. It was a quality start. You're happy with the work you did that day.
Good job, pitcher.
Yes. Good pitching.
This one should be easy. What is a no-hitter?
Well, no hits. Is it the whole game or is it just in your time spent in the game?
If you pitched a complete game and gave up
no hits. Okay. So it's got to be both.
I could throw 2 innings and you give up no hits. It's not considered a no-hitter. I have to pitch the whole game,
right, the whole game
to get a no-hitter.
Okay.
Okay, same line. What is a perfect game?
No hits, no walks, no errors, all 9 innings.
And sometimes you can throw a perfect game in a 7-inning game. That's a 6-inning game. If there's no base runners allowed, if every batter that came up was retired or got out.
Okay.
That'd be a perfect game.
Okay.
And
I thought it was like the whole 9 innings, zeros across the board.
The thing about like perfect games and no-hitters, obviously the pitcher always gets credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
But in the baseball's a team sport.
Right.
So for me to throw a perfect game or a no-hitter, there were some amazing plays made.
Yeah.
There were some diving catches made to save hits.
Like it starts with you. But yes, it is all
like
everybody else.
These
on the
guys
field.
that have done in the big leagues, like Nolan Ryan threw like 7 no-hitters or something crazy. The amount of diving plays that were made in those games was probably pretty high.
Yeah.
Like you don't typically see perfect games or no-hitters without something special happening behind those pitchers.
Yeah.
What is a web gem?
I don't know. Is that caught in the web of the glove?
A web gem is like a great highlight type play.
Okay.
So I don't think they have them anymore, but ESPN or Sports Center, they used to have
web gems.
A segment called Web Gems.
It's coming back to me.
Okay.
We watched a lot of Sports Center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Web gems. Okay, last one. What is a shoestring catch?
Is it when you're like running and you like scoop it up right on top of your shoestrings? Like it doesn't hit the ground.
Okay.
Maybe you didn't dive and catch, but you ran and scooped it.
You caught it, but just off the ground.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good job. I think
you.
you were like 7 for 15 or something.
Okay.
Really good.
That's 50%.
That's okay.
Okay.
Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Now we get to get into the season.
All right, let's talk about 2004. Big season.
Yeah.
In many different ways.
Yeah. Where do you want to start?
So, well, let me start with spring training.
Okay.
So, or let me step back a little bit. after the previous season, 2003,
Mhm.
did really well in the Rockies organization. They did not re-sign me. They did not even offer. So I became a free agent again.
Mhm.
Ended up with signing with the Giants, went to Major League Spring Training with them. And from what I recall, I think I did really well. I don't remember exactly how those innings went, but I think I held my own. But even then, I was still one of the first players to get cut to go down to minor league spring training, which again, why did the Rockies not re-sign me after doing so well?
Yeah.
Why did I get released that year before? My stuff was good enough
Mm.
to have success, but not quite what they were looking for big league arms. So again, looking back on my career now and being on the coaching side, I have a little bit of a better understanding of what we're looking for. And we'll get into this in the future. But when I was coaching with the Angels, I learned a lot about that player development side, what sort of abilities you're looking for in players that would make them major league prospects, not just a professional prospect, but a big league prospect, what they need to be able to do, what abilities they need to have to be productive big leaguers. There's a difference.
So a quick reflection here on your part. Is there anything that you wish you would have known in regards to what the coaches were looking for to be that big league prospect, that if you would have known that, maybe you could have done something different, performed in a different way to kind of ensure that you had XYZ qualities that you knew they were looking for?
Well, I think now with, at almost 50 years old, and I've been out of the game for almost
Time.
as long as I played the game,
Wow.
I did not do enough strength training,
Mm,
total body strength training.
okay.
I did a lot of lower body stuff because back then, as pitchers, we were told to stay away from upper body stuff.
Right.
I would have strength trained different. I would have done more explosive type movement training, more quick movement, quick turning type stuff. As far as stuff wise, I think the stuff that I had developed, meaning the pitches that I threw,
Mm,
I think I definitely had the smarts for it. I understood the game well enough, which was why I was having the success in these years. I was getting there to where I could compete well enough to outthink my opponents more often than not. But in regards to your question, I think that strength was probably the biggest piece for me. And
mm,
we just know so much more now about it,
yeah.
that we just didn't know
It
then.
actually isn't harmful for pitchers to train,
Oh,
resistance train their upper body.
yeah. And then with that, there are mechanical things that I am aware of now that I never heard of as a
Mm,
player.
because nobody knew
I don't think anybody knew.
or realized maybe.
I think that, just simple things like arm path, arm action.
Mm,
My arm action was a lot longer than it is now. And I think I lost a little bit there by being as long as I was with my arm action.
lost a little bit of what?
Velocity,
Oh, okay.
I think. My command was still good, and I don't think that switching that arm action would have affected my command, but I think it would have put my body in a stronger position to throw the ball. And then there were some lower half things mechanically that, looking back on it now, seeing some video of myself throwing in games then compared to what I know now, there's some things I definitely could have done better.
And do you, like, try to teach those things to
Yes. Yes.
your people?
Yeah.
Oh,
I do know this, I think, because of everything we know now,
mhm.
from mechanics to nutrition to strength training, the athletes, young athletes that we see out there now are so much further ahead than we were in
Yeah.
our generation, whether
Yeah.
it was even when we were younger to being adult
Well, even, like,
professionals.
even female athletes, like, seeing the workouts that they do in the high school for the girls,
Hmm.
volleyball, basketball, I mean,
Yeah.
probably all of them. I may have seen where the weight room was in high school.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the extent of my weight training in high school.
Yeah, I didn't touch a weight until my senior year, and even then it wasn't a lot. Like now, we know once kids start going through puberty, it's time. You can start really hammering away at nutrition, making sure you're
Yeah.
eating enough. You can start pushing the muscles to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It
that's part of the reason why I think we see more injuries, because we are able to move the body quicker and be stronger. But at the same time, it's a big reason why athletes are better. They 100% are better now than they were back in the 80s and 90s when we were growing
yeah.
up.
Or even early 2000s,
Yeah, yeah.
really. Okay, so back to the season. You're one of the first to get sent down to minor league camp
Yep. So I go down
in spring training.
spring training with the Giants in minor league camp. That was in Scottsdale, Arizona. I don't remember.
Arizona.
Yeah. I don't remember a lot about how my performance went. Ended up going with the team to Fresno.
Yeah.
You may have come and visit me in spring training in Arizona, but right when I got to Fresno, you and Christopher came out to Fresno. You drove down there and you were there with me in Fresno.
I
And
thought I didn't live with you in spring training with
I don't
Christopher
remember.
in the extended stay hotel. And then my mom came to visit at one point
Okay.
during
So
that.
so maybe you drove from Phoenix, or maybe we drove together from
Maybe I think we
Phoenix,
did drive
Scottsdale
together.
to Fresno. Okay.
Yeah, to Fresno.
Okay.
How long
So
were we there?
in Fresno?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to get into this. The night before opening day.
But how long were we there before that?
Okay. So we
Couple
found an
days?
apartment.
And it was hard to find an
It
apartment, I
was it was
remember.
hard. In that back it's different now. Now the teams provide living for the minor leaguers, but back then, now the organizations pay for living and provide living.
Wow.
But back then we had to find it and pay for it. So it's definitely different now again than
Yeah.
it was then.
Rent furniture.
Yep. So all this stuff. So we found this apartment complex. They rushed to get us in there
We
because I
did.
think we were going to start the season on the road. So we wanted to get everything set up for you before
Yeah.
I left. So get that all set up, get in the apartment.
Don't
And
remember where, but they were very, very
helpful.
accommodating.
So the night before opening day, we have a practice at the field in Fresno. And after the workout, they called me into the office and they let me go. So they did all this stuff. And again, being on the coaching side and understanding all the stuff that goes into it, I still don't know if it is the morally good thing to do, correct thing to do that to a player, to bring him with the team to the
place,
to the city, and then to the practice. And the night before opening day, they let me go after the workout.
I do kind of remember like waiting and waiting and waiting for you to come home.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know why I remember stuff like this, but like you brought Chili's home for dinner on your way back from the field. So having one car, me and Christopher just stayed and you went to the practice. You were going to get dinner on the way back. And I remember it felt like it was taking forever for you to get back. Now, why? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a line at Chili's. Like, I don't know. But
So we ended up staying in that apartment. I want to say we stayed in Fresno for a few days at least.
okay.
And I would go down to like a local school and do some throwing against a wall or something to keep my arm in shape, because at this time my agent was trying to see if there was anything out there, anywhere I could go. So I was
Night before opening day,
I was staying in shape for that. So anyway, so we ended up leaving Fresno, kind
backing
of
up.
undoing all that stuff that we just did to get the apartment set up. We go back home, and I am home for about a month.
Well, getting the apartment set up, that means like with Christopher, who's not quite one, our oldest child, our only child at the time, we had completely unpacked, completely set up everything. Like we moved in.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like our suitcases were open, on the floor next to the bed. Like we had set up rental furniture. We had set up electric. We had like everything that you have to set up for an apartment. We had set it all up. I remember it being stressful a little bit because it was like, they were rushing to get it ready, this, that, and the other thing. And then
so
we pack it up.
Baseball to business. I mean, it's unfortunate. It just happened to happen to us. But anyways, go back home, and I'm home for a month waiting for something.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I was working on it, making phone calls, sending messages with the people I knew.
Yeah.
My agent, he was doing what he needed to do to try to get me something. Nothing was coming. So
you were staying, you were throwing. Did you find like some catcher to throw to, or were you just going to a school?
A local high schooler catcher.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had bought our first house by now because we were at our first house, right? I mean,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And I wasn't working at the time.
Yeah.
Either.
So I was just a few days away from going to play independent ball. I don't remember which team it was. For some reason, Somerset pops out my mind, but I really don't know. But anyways, a few days before I'm about to go play independent ball, the Rockies end up finding a spot, making a spot for me. So my connection there was Bob McClure, who was my pitching coach from the year before.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of my first messages I sent, first phone calls I made after I got released. And
you guys had a good relationship. You were one of his best guys.
Yep. So I don't know what it took. I don't know if someone got released. I don't know if they had someone that they wanted to replace. I don't really know what led to this spot opening. But anyways, finally get a call back from them, sign a contract. They send me down to the extended spring training, which for them then at that time it was Tucson, Arizona. So I go down there. I think I'm there for maybe a week, pitching a couple games while they need to see that I'm ready,
Yeah.
that I'm healthy, and a spot needs to open up. So a spot opens up. I end up meeting with the AAA team. This must have been at some point in mid to late May.
So AAA is still Colorado Springs, but you
Yes.
met them, maybe they were on the road or something.
Yeah,
Don't
I
remember.
don't remember
Yeah.
where I ended up meeting them, but go there and, I had a good season the year before in Colorado Springs. The stars aligned and, we can talk about some numbers here in a second, but I ended up having an even better year this year, even though all that drama that happened
Yeah.
before the season and not having a job that first month, ended up having a really good year. I started as a reliever, ended up making some spot starts again. And I think towards the end of the season, I ended up in the starting rotation for like the last couple months of the season. So I was able to do my job again in a really hitter friendly league.
Mm.
I even remember, I don't know what point in the season, but I think it was actually a spot start in Nashville. And we threw a no hitter. We just talked about no hitter.
Mm.
So we threw a no hitter, but I didn't throw the whole game, but I threw the first 7 innings of the no hitter. And then a reliever came in after me, Jesus Sanchez, and he threw 2 no-hit innings to secure the no-hitter.
Nice.
So that was a pretty cool thing. I think in Nashville, for the Nashville Sounds, in Colorado Springs, our name is in the record books there for that. But
Oh, cool.
anyway, so let's talk about some numbers from that season.
Okay. You were 14-2 with a 3.67 ERA. You pitched in 24 games with 8 starts. You pitched 90 innings, gave up 80 hits, 17 walks, 74 strikeouts with a 1.07 whip.
So that walk to strikeout ratio was the best of my career. So 17 walks to
74
strikeouts. So that was over 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
The goal was always, can I get to 4-1?
Yeah.
Right. 4 strikeouts to every 1 walk. So I was able to do it in this season. But I want to talk real quick about that 14-2 win-loss record. That
doesn't look great.
Well, no. It's 14.
Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. I was looking at my brain inverted it. Yeah.
14 wins and 2
looks really good.
And 2 losses. I mean, that's kind of extreme, especially because most of the season I was a reliever, right? I had 8 starts, but pitching how many games?
24
games. So most of those wins came as a reliever. And I remember it was like I would come into a game and it was either tied and I had to keep the score where it was, or I would come into a game and we were behind and they wanted to bring in a reliever to keep the score there and give our team a chance. And it just happened to work out that I would come in the game, keep the score where it was for the other team, and we would score runs. So like all of a sudden I'm racking up these wins, not really as a starting pitcher. I mean, I had all these years before this as a starting pitcher, and I remember having kind of bad luck when it came to run support, meaning when I started the game, how many runs we would score while I was pitching. But it was just really weird that it was like everything came together this season, even something little like that.
Yeah.
Like you don't see that sort of win-loss record for guys who are mainly relievers. But that was an interesting piece to that season. But again, to keep the hits below innings pitched, to have a whip that was around
1.07.
Yeah, to have that low of a whip in a place like that was, I almost feel like the Rockies felt a little obligated to call me up to the big leagues because I was doing so well and they were doing so poorly. Like people would be like, hey, you got this guy down here that, look at these numbers he's put up. How could you not call him up when, we'll get to this in a second, but even after this season, they didn't sign me back. So 2 years in a row where I did really well in AAA, and both years they didn't want to bring me back for the next year.
Yeah.
So again, it even just speaks to my stuff was good enough to be a professional, maybe even to be a big leaguer, but not quite what organizations were looking for to be a consistent big leaguer, if that makes sense. In the past, I've talked about my stuff was very average for professional baseball, and little things like this kind of prove a little bit that even others saw it as just being average.
So do you think maybe if you threw like a couple few miles an hour harder, maybe it would have been different?
Possibly.
Or...
And the faster your fastball is, the faster your off-speed stuff is. And the faster your off-speed stuff is, the harder it is to hit. It spins better and breaks harder. So it definitely could have, but I mean, it is what it is. And, I think that the mental side of my game was why I was able to even reach the big leagues, because I was able to make my stuff play better because I learned how to use what I had. instead of trying to force things to be what it wasn't, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Do we talk about the call up?
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
What do you remember?
Well, I was just gonna say, who wants to go first? I don't know if I've ever heard your version
A
of
lot of it's a blur to me.
your experience. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, but I mean,
It was 22 years ago,
yeah, it was such a
and it's happening to you, so it probably is more of a blur to you than it is
adrenaline going
my
on,
memory.
so much emotions, you know,
So call-ups generally happen after that night's game, right?
usually. You
Usually.
Yeah.
And why is that? Your manager obviously knew. It's not
Oh,
like a
they
last minute
yeah,
thing.
they all probably knew earlier in that day,
Yeah.
and they, said, "Hey, we're gonna call Gisela after the game tonight." So,
Yeah.
like, they all knew.
Yes.
I don't remember why. I don't remember if someone got hurt. I don't remember what the reasoning was.
Right.
There obviously something went down for there to be a spot for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so my version, I actually knew before the coaches told me. So one of the clubhouse managers,
Oh, I think you did tell me this one time.
I got pretty close with,
Mhm.
and when someone's going to get called up, coaches know, trainers know,
Yeah.
clubhouse guys know, so they can do everything they need to do so that when this actually happens after the game, people aren't scrambling.
Right.
So all the details are taken care of. So I think at one point, either before the game or during the game, I end up going into the clubhouse. And
You're not pitching during this game.
no,
Okay.
and he tells me,
He says, "Hey, you're getting called up," or
he's
did
like,
it like slip?
I think he said like, "Hey, I know I'm not supposed to tell you, but I can't hold it in."
My gosh.
Yeah, and he told me, and I don't remember how I reacted. I was like, I think I remember having a reaction of like, I hope so.
Right.
Like,
Like, why is he telling
yeah,
you?
I hope that's true.
Yeah.
So I kind of had
Maybe you were a little bit skeptical.
yeah, I had an idea already. So
Okay.
after the game, when they did call me in, I knew what was going to happen.
Okay.
So like that part wasn't the surprise that it might be for some guys because I
Yeah.
had already
Yeah.
heard about it a little bit, but they called me in there and
Who was it? Who was your manager?
so Mac was the
Pitching
pitching
coach.
coach. Might have been Marv Foley. So I was there for 2 years, two different managers each year. So
Oh, okay.
I think one year it was Rick Schofield and I think Marv Foley.
So the year Christopher was born, which was the previous year, he and I came out there 3 weeks after he was born and spent the season there with you.
Mhm.
This year, probably because of how the year started, he and I stayed home and visited.
Okay.
Because we were not there for this moment. And I'll share my version
Yeah.
in a second, but for whatever reason, maybe you and I thought it was best to just he and I will be at home and have our normal routine and we'll just visit when we can. And just in case there's more craziness that happens, just
Yeah.
because things probably felt very unpredictable this year. So your manager tells you,
Yeah, so they tell me, and I don't remember a lot from there. The next thing I remember is going outside and calling my parents and letting them know. And obviously, everybody's excited, and they make travel arrangements to get to Denver.
mm-hmm.
Probably as soon as they can. I don't know how long it took them to get there, but at some point in there, and I hate it, but I do not remember calling you. I hate it, but I don't remember that phone call. I do remember that we had two friends living with us in Washington at the time, so I know that when I called you that they heard it at the same time.
Yes.
Or you were on the phone and then you told
Yes.
them. But you ended up coming out. We got you and Christopher a flight as soon as possible, and you
Yeah.
guys came out too.
I don't know if it was the next day or I don't know if it was that quick, but it was very quick. And did we come to Arizona? Were you guys playing the Diamondbacks?
I think you came down there at one point.
Okay.
When I made my debut in Denver against the Expos,
Okay.
and I pitched.
Which is no longer a team.
No longer a team.
That's how long ago this was.
Yeah, yeah. I think I pitched 2 innings. I gave up 1 run. I think it was actually a home run. A
Okay.
couple strikeouts. But what is your version of the story?
So if memory serves, my version is that you did call me late at night, of course, because it's after the game and they've called you in and they've told you. You've now called your parents and then you call me. So let's just say it's like 11 p.m. Pacific. Like it's late. Christopher's sleeping. I'm waiting for your call. And yes, our friends that were living with us were also up. And I actually don't remember exactly what you said. I don't know if you said they called me up or I'm going up or I don't know. I cannot remember the exact words, but I remember being on the phone and this was not like a very big house. I literally walked down the hall and our friends who are still awake, I'm just on the phone with you and I look at Eric and I'm just eyes wide, mouth open. And he somehow could read my mind and knew exactly what you were telling me on the phone. And it was just very, very exciting. And I'm sure I was like, oh my God, we got to get a flight. What are we going to do? When is it going to happen? Just all of the logistics of everything. And like by now, what Christopher is, you know what? I think when you were home for his first birthday, which wasn't going to happen because it's the end of April. It's right at the beginning of baseball season. So when you were home, you were I guess the silver lining of that is that you were able to be home for his first birthday. So like by now, I don't know, 16, 17, 18 months, like around a year and a half. And so we're just trying to make travel plans for me and him to come to Denver. Gosh, I don't even remember talking with your parents about it. I think we just made separate travel arrangements. It was like they were just going to make theirs and get out there, and you and I made my travel arrangements. And this isn't something that the team even helps with. It's like we did it. We had to make the arrangements, pay for it. It's, this isn't like a work perk where they make your travel arrangements for you. And then I thought the coolest, okay, so not the coolest, but one of the coolest things about being there is that the team does have childcare for the players' families. So having been at games with a little one who obviously cannot sit in the seat and watch a game for 3 hours at 1 year old, it was nice to know that he was being cared for and having fun, and I could sit with your parents and watch. Yeah.
So I think I pitched in like 5 big league games. One of them was a start. There was a little moment in there where I got sent down to AAA just for like a week and a half, and then came back up for the September call-ups at the end of the year.
And I don't remember that happening.
Yeah.
But again, it's probably because we weren't there the whole time. At whatever point Christopher and I went back, we flew back to Vancouver and we were at home.
Yeah. But at some point you came back out because the one major league start I had was on your birthday, September 26th.
Yep.
But you guys were there for that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So at some point
I wonder if your parents were there for that one too.
Yes, they were.
Okay.
Yeah. So you guys came back out. I think they were. I know they were there for my debut.
So there's one game, I have one very specific memory of being there with your parents watching you. And maybe this was for your debut. And I remember your dad's very reserved, very stoic. And I think your mom may have been sitting on the other side of him. Maybe she was pacing because she gets super nervous. I don't remember.
If she wasn't, her mind.
And I said, gosh, you must be so proud of him. Just like what a moment I'm thinking for your dad to see you out there. And he's like, proud of him. I'm happy for him. Like he was so not the quote unquote proud dad. He was just so happy for you. Oh, gives me a little lump in my throat. He was just so happy for you. And I just thought that was really special. Sorry, I didn't know that was going to happen.
So
deep breath.
So that game, that one start, backtrack a little bit, I had not pitched in like 2 weeks. So September call-ups were, I think, early September. So I think I had, trying to think of the stadiums I pitched in. So I pitched in Denver a few times.
You pitched in Arizona.
Did I pitch in Arizona? I mean, I know we went there. I don't know if I pitched there.
Maybe that's just an assumption.
I think I pitched against the Marlins down in Miami. I think I pitched in that stadium, and I think I pitched at the Braves' old stadium.
Didn't you pitch at Dodger Stadium?
No, we went there.
But
I never got in a game that series. We went there, but I never got in a game.
I remember going to Arizona, and here's why I remember going to Arizona. Whatever rental car, I don't know who made the reservation, but they gave me some Cadillac.
Oh my gosh.
It was a big boat of a car, not an SUV.
I don't remember this.
Well, I do, because I drove the frickin' thing from the airport to the Ritz-Carlton. Weren't we staying in a fancy hotel? And this thing was a sled. And I had to set up Christopher's car seat in the back seat and drive from, for whatever reason, you couldn't pick me up at the airport. But anyways, and I just remember rolling up to the Ritz-Carlton in my Cadillac, just so...
Gosh.
I feel like out of character or out of pocket because, everything was so fancy that I felt totally out of place.
The major leagues, it's like a fantasy world. I don't
just
think,
the accommodations.
Most people see what just goes on TV, but I mean, it's from everything from how you travel to the planes.
Well, even
to the hotels.
in hotels, you get your own room.
Yeah.
You're not booked with a roommate
Yeah.
like in the minor leagues. So even stuff like that to
Yeah.
me is a huge luxury. I mean, I don't remember a thing about our hotel room.
Yeah.
I do remember drinking coffee out of the pretty white cup on the saucer,
Yeah.
like at breakfast in the next morning. And
Well, a lot of those guys get room service.
okay,
At least back then, I don't know if it's any different now, but you get room service because at the hotels, there's always people hanging
everybody,
around.
they're not
There's fans hanging around the hotel
right,
to try
right.
to. So a lot of these guys, they pretty much don't leave their rooms sometimes on the road
Yeah, they get
because
room
of
service, and
yeah,
then when they do go out, it's to get on the bus to go to the
yeah,
stadium. That's like, and I think that was my first time in the Diamondbacks.
stadium.
Yeah, like why else would I have
Yeah.
gone there,
Yeah,
really?
it's a pretty cool stadium. But anyways, to go back to that start, so I hadn't pitched in a couple weeks. So that
Mhm.
means September 26th, the last time I had pitched was somewhere
The
around,
12th or
yeah,
something,
somewhere around
14th,
there.
some
I go out there and I don't know if I didn't know this at the time, but that year the Cardinals were like one of the best teams in baseball.
okay,
Like they were dominating.
okay.
And I go out there and I guess you could say I did okay for
Well
not having pitched a couple weeks.
well,
And
you have to what, you hadn't pitched in a game? Or
yeah, in
like
like 2 weeks. I mean, I'd been doing stuff to make sure I
right,
stay
okay,
ready, but I hadn't pitched in a game in 2 weeks. But anyways, I go out there. I don't know my exact line, but I think I ended up lasting like 4 innings.
okay.
Gave up, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 hits.
Mhm.
Gave up 4, 5, 6 runs. I mean, it wasn't a spectacular outing.
Right,
Somehow I did strike out like 7 guys.
okay.
So maybe a few of the guys weren't seeing the ball well. I
Mhm.
don't know. But I struck out 7 guys in 4 innings. But that game and your birthday is why our name will be in the Hall of Fame someday. Because I gave up number 160 to Albert Pujols.
Mhm.
And I've shared this on social media a few times,
Mhm.
but that was the furthest home run he hit that season. And I don't know if you remember, but the stands up in left field, it was just one tall row
Oh,
section. There wasn't
okay.
like tiers. It was just one tall stand that just went
Mhm.
up, I don't know how many rows.
Yeah.
And he hit it and it almost landed up on the concourse.
Boy,
Yeah, I think it was only like 5 or 6 more rows and it would have landed on
okay.
the concourse. Funny story to that. The
Mhm.
next spring training, I was in spring training with the
With
Cardinals.
the
Yeah,
Cardinals,
so
yeah.
they signed me even after seeing me pitch in that game. They brought me in
Yeah.
the next year. And so every year that each organization has a new like player's guide or manual. God, there's a name for it. But in this, it goes over all the players and has stats, descriptions, bios, all this stuff.
Mhm.
So for Pujols, for his year before, it had a list of all the home runs he hit, which it
Oh,
was
boy.
a crazy number.
Yeah.
And in this list was the date, the distance,
Mm.
maybe even the location, date, location, distance, and who he hit it off of.
Okay.
So I'm in there and
Yeah.
you can see that it's the furthest one of the year. So one of my awesome teammates decides to highlight that line and put it on my chair in front of my locker with it open to that page.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How far do you remember how far he hit it? Was
No.
it like 400 something feet?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Farther? In
No.
the 400s, somewhere high
Yeah.
400s,
Yeah.
maybe?
I could look it
Mid
up,
to high
but
400s.
yeah, but number 160. So that means, so
Yeah.
my hope is that someday in the Hall of Fame, they have
A
a
list.
list of every home run he's hit
Yeah.
and who it was off of. So our name will be in the Hall of Fame.
9/26/2004.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah. So looking back on it, like I don't remember a lot of positive moments from my career, to be honest. But like for
Mm.
me, that was such a cool thing to have experience. And, I'm grateful that I have that moment on video and that I can
Mhm.
go back and look at it. But in the moment, they're not fun. You're
Ha
not happy about it. But
have our boys seen that?
I'm sure they have at some point,
Like,
but
at
I
some
I
point?
honestly think it will be many, many years until they appreciate some of that stuff. Like right now, I'm still just kind of dad, and dad played baseball, which is fine. I'm
Yeah.
not worried about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't
I
think
just
that
can't remember if it
even
is
for
it
like our parents, like my dad was in the army, and when I was younger, I didn't really think about that too much. But
right.
like now, we've gone into a lot of detail about what
Yeah.
his job was, what his experience was like,
Yeah.
when he did that. But when I was younger, in my teen years and 20s, I didn't really think twice about that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up with my dad playing music, so that was normal for me just to
Mhm.
have music around the house, but to go and see performances and
Yeah.
stuff was, I mean, big or small. I remember even at like church, he'd be performing and somebody'd be like, "That's your dad?"
Mhm.
Like, yeah. Like, I mean, he's dad.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how, yeah, your kids don't really see anything cool about you as a
Yeah.
parent. Until maybe they're parents themselves or reach some level of maturity where they can be like, "Okay, now I get it.
Mhm.
Now I understand what they were talking about."
Yeah. Yeah, well, I never made it back up to the big leagues after this year. We did go to Japan for a couple years, and we'll talk about that in other
Yeah.
episodes, but
The next season is when you're with the Cardinals on their AAA team and we're pregnant with baby number 2.
mhm,
That was fun being in Memphis pregnant.
yeah.
Mm,
So we'll get into that next episode,
yeah.
but yeah, it was 2004 was a special moment in our lives, and to be able to make it that far, I actually have this written down somewhere. Like there's only been, I don't know, maybe around 20,000 people that have ever played in the big leagues in the history of the game in the world.
Mhm.
And I think we were like number 18,000 something. But yeah, great experience, and I'll forever be grateful for it.
For sure, for sure.
Okay.
Okay, if you could offer a piece of advice to a parent of a player, what would you say?
There's lots of stuff I could say,
Yes.
but let me just say this. Depending on the age, we need to be their strongest support system. And I think with that comes being someone in their life that helps them as far as playing catch with them, throwing back batting practice to them if you're able, doing things to help them develop physically as an athlete. But at the same time, maybe even more important is to make sure that we are teaching them some life skills as far as accountability and responsibility.
Mhm.
Making excuses, throwing blame. It is a real habit in youth sports. Players constantly talking about umpires,
Yeah.
constantly talking about teammates making mistakes.
I think isn't it like a protective mechanism?
Yeah. Play a little cover for yourself, protect yourself
Yeah.
from the embarrassment or the discussion of you failing.
Mhm.
So I think probably even more important than the physical side is helping kids understand that accountability piece and being that someone in their life that not in a harsh way, but like call them out from day one, help them understand the controllables versus the
Mm.
uncontrollables and help them get their mind right so that that habit of throwing blame,
Just like self-awareness.
yeah, that habit doesn't become something that holds them back, especially as they get older.
It's a good one.